So one of the areas of the brain regions gaining increasing attention within the scientific community, especially by figures like Huberman, is the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. Now, whilst not officially part of the prefrontal cortex club, the AMCC is a close ally, deeply entwined with its members. Together they form a kind of a shield and a sword duo in the battle for discipline and the art of resisting temptation. I touched on how a lack of discipline and inability to resist temptation are actually often linked to weaker neural connections in this particular area. I mean, can you imagine that? Your ability to be strong versus temptation can be likened to a weakness in a muscle in attempt to overcome a weight. It can be trained, it can be developed, and eventually it can bully the forces of temptation into submission. So let's talk about the AMCC, its location, and the critical role in addiction, and the tangible benefits you can experience in as little as a week of strengthening it. So the AMCC is situated in the medial part of the brain, just above the genu of the corpus callosum. Nestled in the cingulate cortex, the AMC hangs out in the limbic lobe, where the emotional and behavioral responses of the brain take spotlight, leaving the executive heavy lifting, of course, to the prefrontal cortex, as we established a few weeks ago. Look, don't underestimate what I'm saying. The AMC is a feature you have that can navigate the drama of addiction, juggle cognitive control and emotional regulation, and reward processing with the finesse of a seasoned gymnast. We're talking about the muscle of discipline here. It can go through hypertrophy like any other muscle. Here's two features of a fully developed and toned AMCC. So number one, it has masterful jurisdiction in the cognitive control and decision-making areas. Abilities often impaired in moments of temptation and addiction. It plays a role in regulating those emotions, particularly when in craving responses and emotional responses triggered by drug-related cues. And more interestingly, the AMCC is actually involved in evaluating effort with reward, which influences the persistence of the addictive behavior. But how does one strengthen it? Several strategies can be employed. The first one, very unsurprisingly, is going to be mindfulness and meditative practices, which are particularly effective. They enhance the function of brain regions, including the emotional regulation area, as discussed in the AMCC. In number two, the research estimates that a minimum of 16 minutes of exercise, 3 times per week, not 3 minutes, is essential to develop this brain area. Cardiovascular exercises like running or cycling, especially when you are pushing yourself to continue. Interestingly, on this point, it's been measured that non-trained individuals actually have smaller AMCC development than those who meet the quota. So a study done on people aged between 60 and 78 years old actually found that adding 3 hours of cardiovascular exercise per week for 6 months increased the size of their AMCC, offsetting the normal age-related decline in this particular brain region. Research further shows that the crucial aspect of this development is when people are given difficult tasks, especially ones that they do not want to do. So the levels of increased activity in this area is actually not affected through easier tasks. They don't activate the AMCC. This part is essential that you get right. Huberman suggests there is a fresh theory brewing, so the AMCC might not just be the brain's kind of grit and grind department. It could actually be the home of willpower. Like, willpower has a location in the brain. Now, I recognize that some of this might be challenging, hopefully not challenging. If it is challenging, there is an easy run-up to this. They're actually called, the former is called a macro suck, and these ones are called a micro suck. So small, challenging tasks littered throughout the day that you don't necessarily want to do. So for example, 5 minutes of breath work before meetings, stretching after a run. I'm a little bit lax on stretching at the moment. Doing the dishes before bed. Resisting temptation naturally runs through much of the majority of these practices, perhaps in activities you are already doing. So, whenever you're doing deep work, for example, you set a timer down for 2 hours, AMCC. Whenever you're fasting, AMCC. Whenever you are taking a cold shower. But what about the things that you're doing that could be damaging your progress and shrinking the AMCC? The first one is chronic substance abuse. So, hyperactivation of the AMCC, impairing cognitive control and emotional regulations, drugs, alcohol, all the usual culprits, for example. Additionally, a lack of cognitive engagement, opting for, let's say, comfort over a challenge can lead to underutilization of this area and therefore atrophy of this region, resulting in a weakness in your willpower. Another name could be apathetic behavior. I mean, how much of your day do you actually spend in lower levels of consciousness, scrolling in this kind of daze? The last point is particularly crucial. In our daily lives, we are often faced with choices between cognitive challenges and the path of least resistance. For instance, let's say, getting up and going to the gym or hitting the snooze button. It might seem trivial in the moment, but such decisions will have profound implications on this particular area of the brain, leading to, atrophy. And it also consolidates limbic system. It makes you stronger in your weakness. Imagine that, stronger in weakness and weaker in your strength. So the continuity of the reactive behavior is a great demonstration for weakness in this area. For example, I have a friend, I use the term friend loosely, who was always very, very quick to anger. You can never banter with him. You can never take a joke. And he had a very underdeveloped area of this brain. The benefits of maintaining a strong AMCC, are substantial. Robust cognitive function, enabling better resistance of cravings and healthier decision makings. This improvement is not isolated. It has a compounding effect across various different aspects of life. For example, when you resist the temptation to indulge in something unhealthy, pizza, cake, and opt for a more nutritious option, fatty cut of red meat, for example, not only are you strengthening this area, but you're also reinforcing your ability to make healthier choices in other areas of your life. It has crossover. This crossover is really, really, really encouraging. Moreover, a stronger AMCC improves emotional regulation, helping you manage those emotions that arise in moments where you are triggered, when you are tempted. It also supports persistence and tenacity, which are crucial in overcoming the challenges, particularly in the context of addiction recovery. I mean, overall, maintaining a healthy AMCC through cognitive engagement, stress management, and perhaps targeted invasive therapies, you may opt for that, is invaluable for managing addictive behavior. In essence, the AMCC is not just another area of the brain. It is a key player in our ability to exert self-control, manage emotions, make decisions that align with our long-term growth, and can lead to profound changes in how we navigate life, the challenges of life, particularly in the face of addiction. And you can see why it's not too difficult to discern that strengthening this area is going to have profound implications on adult material use, SR, but other elements of life where discipline is going to be a key pillar. That's why I'm of the opinion that SR is made more difficult when you're not doing some of the aforementioned things before. Fasting, meditation, exercise, cold showers, they're all strengthening a particular area in your brain that is going to be critical in those moments of temptation. However, I need to reiterate that the conditions for development are found when you are feeling the resistance to the task. So for example, the research suggests, like I love going to the gym. If you love going to the gym, if that's not difficult for you, you're not going to develop this area in your brain. But if you feel aversions to cold showers, you really don't want to get in the cold shower, that is the key component. If you're romanticizing certain activities as examples of discipline, we should all learn to notice the things that we don't want to do. We need to be sensitive to that part when you feel that inner wall that is preventing you from doing it. That is where you grow. So smile when you notice your inner bitch pipe up and embrace the suck. Facts, not theories. Speak soon.